Hey YouTube, it's Mike Bang Gangster here, and today I'm bringing you guys a Barbarian build, a two-handed Conan the Barbarian Stun Master. So now it doesn't really matter how you basically put your skill points, as long as you basically put the skill points where I have them all on the basically added as you're leveling up. Choose where you want to put them slowly as you get your levels. Of course, you're going to need to be level 50 to be able to complete the whole build, but as long as you have a good understanding where you want to put your builds, of course, I would recommend maybe most likely going in as like not putting all 5 points right away like in bash or whatever, like like you split them up how you feel comfortable uh doing so as you're leveling up. Okay, so the build basically is going to basically you're going to use most of your weapons, but the main focus is your two-handed weapons. So your two-handed slash and your two-handed blunt. Okay, of course you are going to use, for example, leap with dual wield, because we are going to have to be able to use all three weapon types. So of course the two wield, the two-handed slash, and the two-handed blunt. Which the reason for that is because we're going to be using walking arsenal, and if you read this correctly, if you use all three damage bonus are active, you get an addition 15%. So it becomes a total of 45% extra damage. That's why it's just very important to be using two-handed weapon, two-handed slashing, and dual wield weapons. If you understand what I mean. Anyway, you'll see it works very good. And also as you're leveling up, it's also very powerful because you have a lot of like survivability, a lot of ground control, a lot of stun, which is gonna make the build. Is gonna make you basically go through the game a lot easier too, and you're gonna do a lot of damage to bosses also. So we are gonna take now the reason why I'm going for this bash over, for example, like launching strike, is because I want to use the stun. Okay, I want to stun lock my enemies as much as I can. Okay, so you're gonna require eventually, as you're leveling up, when you have enough points, you put 5 out of 5 in bash. We're also gonna be picking enhance bash, which this will create to basically damaging a stunned enemy. Bash grants you 10% base life as fortify. Again, something to survive, always nice. Damaging a stunned enemy with bash generates also additional 3 fury. We're actually going to be getting 4 fury, and we're also going to be getting double the 10% here, because we're going to be using a two-handed weapon for this particular. So this one we have to use a two-handed slashing weapon for bash, and for oh, no, I'm sorry, yeah, two-handed slashing weapon for bash, and two-handed blue whatever, like blunt weapon for Hammer of the Ancient. That's the next skill. So of course, when you're able to put 5 out of 5, this is going to be your one of your main damages that you're going to have on your character. So 5 out of 5 in Hammer of the Ancient. You're also going to have one in the second one right here. You just have no choice if you want to get to the next one. Hammer of the Ancient will also deal 1% additional damage for each point of fury that you add when using it. So it just basically makes Hammer of the Ancient do more damage the more fury you have. We're also going to be using pressure point. So this is lucky hit. Lucky hit is very good in this game. Your core skill have up to 30% chance to make your enemies vulnerable. Vulnerable is probably like one of the most, probably the best debuff in the game when it comes to like putting damage on your enemy. So the fact that you have 3 out of 3 here, you have 30% chance to make your basically your enemies vulnerable for 2 seconds, which is very powerful, right? Afterwards, we need a little bit more defending survivability, so we're gonna go with challenging shout. We're only gonna have 1 point in this one. It's gonna give you a 40% damage reduction for 6 seconds. That's pretty good. While your challenging shot is active, you gain also 20% bonus of maximum life. And while challenging shot is active, you also gain 30% of torn equal to your maximum life, which what we're going to do is we're going to go also 3 out of 3 for outburst, which will gain 10 torn for each 50 bonus maximum life you have. So the more life you have, the more torn you're going to have. That's 3 out of 3. And this one here, we're only going to use 1. Increase your torn by 3%. When enemy hit you, they take additional 10% of your torn as bleeding damage over time. Okay. Now, this one here is We're going to put 2 points in this one, imposing presence, to increase our life. So basically we have more life into Torrent and stuff like that. And of course we're going to use damage reduction against elite. I think this is necessary. Again, you know, survivability, 9% less damage versus elites, which is very, very good, you know. Afterwards, well, afterwards, again, you guys are going to follow, you're going to follow your own, you know, where you're going to put your points slowly. This is just the end build, the way it looks like. But of course, as you're leveling up, you're going to choose not to put things 5 out of 5 or 2 out of 3 right away. You may choose other skills before you reach that point, right? So we're going to have leap, and the reason why we're using leap is because we need to be able to use a skill to basically get away or get to a mob or whatever, and we also need to be able to use dual wield to be able to use our you know, our master at the end, right? So 1 point here. We're also going to put 1 point over here. If leap does damage to enemies that are if leap doesn't damage any enemy, its cooldown is reduced by 4 seconds. If leap damage at least one enemy, gain 40 fury, so that's pretty good. You could also go for this one. It slows enemy. I just went for the fury because of course we're going to need fury for Armor of the Ancient. We're also going to use your shout skill, booming voice here, to make your shout skill last a little bit longer. And also your shout skill will cause enemies to deal 4% less damage. Again, a little bit more survivability, right? Uh, then this is going to be your next big damage skill, Death Blow. So attempting to basically killing strike, dealing 168 damage when you have 5 out of 5 to an enemy in front of you. If this kills the enemy, of course, this skill resets, so that's very, very powerful. It does have a cooldown for 15 seconds if it doesn't, but still, if you do damage to bosses, like it says right here, it does 100% increased damage to bosses. So this is also very, very good for whenever you're basically taking down bosses. And if Death Blow damages at least one enemy, gain Berserker for 3 seconds, which is always very nice to have. Now we're going to go in Pit Fighter. In Pit Fighter, we're going to go 3 out of 3 over here to increase your damage to close enemies, because we are going to be close to them. We're also going to have 3 out of 3 over here to have 9% increased critical strike chance against immobilized, stunned, or slowed enemy. So we're going to be stunned. We're going to have a lot of enemies stunned. So we're always pretty much going to have 9% increased damage over here. Critical chance, sorry, not damage. Critical strike chance. So chance to critical hit. And of course, we're going to put 3 out of 3 over here for dealing direct damage with a weapon mastery skill. Causes the next core skill to make enemies vulnerable. So vulnerable is just so overpowered that even for only 3 seconds, it's just amazing to have, right? The skill that we're going to use for our ultimate is going to be Call of the Ancient. We're only going to use the first one here. We don't really care too much about these two things. We just basically want to have an ultimate. I know you may want to put them if you want. You may remove them somewhere else, but I just want to put one here. They do enough damage as it is. The other skills don't do anything really super crazy. Like, I don't really care about attack speed and stuff like that, and I don't really care too much about this. So I rather just have the ultimate there. And of course, in heavy-handed, this is very important. While using a two-handed weapon, you deal 15% increase critical strike damage. So we're going to be using a lot of two-handed, especially the fact that both our skills that we're using a lot are going to be used by two-handed. So we're going to be doing a lot of damage with two-handed. And also we're going to be using brute force, which your overpower deals 45% increased damage when using a two-handed weapon. So again, we're using two-handed weapon, so that's definitely going to benefit us a lot, right? And of course, we're going to be using Walking Arsenal. Now, the reason why this is going to be so good for us is that when dealing direct damage with a two-handed blunt or a two-handed slashing or a dual-wield weapon, grants you 10% increased damage for 6 seconds. So while you basically go through your skills, you automatically always will be using a two-handed slash, a two-handed blunt, and a two-wield weapon. Will always have basically 45% increased damage, because you're gonna get the bonus to having all 3 different weapons used. So this is a very overpowered two-handed. I like to call it the Conan Barbarian Stunt Master built. But you guys, let me know what you guys think. Try it out. Leave me comments. Let me know if you guys like it. And I wish you guys the best of luck. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.